everybody, and welcome to the show. Happy day after Christmas. It is a, kind of rainy and gray Friday here in Ohio, which is interesting. I used to listen to Rush Limbaugh all the time, and Rush would talk about the beautiful blue skies that he experienced down in Florida all the time. I live in Ohio. So for about 6 to 8 months out of the year, we've got gray skies, rain, and snow. Not quite as nice as the weather in Florida or several other places that I could be. But it is what it is, and it is home. So today we're going to hit a bunch of different things. One of the interesting things you see from the title is, do the jabs make you dumber? And I kind of got a boot right in that. It made me smile a bit because, it's kind of a loaded question. You're kind of dumb if you got the jab, but then you got the jab and you get dumber. No. I actually, listen, there's a lot of very, very smart people that were lied to and tricked into getting this. But the truth of the matter is yes, it can make you stupider. And it's interesting because there's a headline today out there about Sweden's IQ dropping, and the kind of the push here is because of the illegal immigration. But I'd argue that it has to do with the vaccines too. There's a lot of them. So anyway, lots of stuff to see here. We're going to cause all sorts of trouble and annoy people all over the place because it's what we do. But before we do, we're going to get going, and we get my friends from PetClub 24/7 here. They're going to talk to us a little bit about something that's actually kind of fun today. We're going to talk about our pets and, the stuff that they're dealing with. The pets have had a very difficult time. I'm sure if you've got dogs, that your dogs were almost as abused as mine over Christmas with their doggy toys that we bought them and all the other sorts of things. I'm kidding. My dogs are the most spoiled creatures in the world. Yeah, it's funny because people used to talk about being in the doghouse. I wish I could be in the doghouse. My dogs got so much better than me. They're just, I think they sleep probably 20 hours out of the day, occasionally get up and go for a walk. People clean up after them. Life is pretty good if you're a dog, especially in the Wren's household. But there are things that we got to watch out for because they get into too many treats, their own kind of treats, different things like that over the holidays. So a little bit of fun talk about my doggies and their health because I am a huge, huge, huge animal lover, and it never hurts to do that. So we'll get started on that and then move into some more points. Also, we had a big ruling out of California, and it was a good ruling, where a judge ruled that parents have rights. Newsflash, right? I mean, who would have thunk it, right? But California, of course, California is trying to make it illegal for parents to even know if the school is pushing their kid into trans. So these schools are, they're trying to push these kids into being trans, and all this sort of things. They're messing with their mental health, doing all these terrible things. And despite that, they're not only doing all that, but they're actually making rules to try and prevent parents from even knowing it's happening. Teachers are supposed to lie to the parents. It's insane. We had a judge shut that down. It's kind of an interesting thing. A great order, great ruling. Kind of an interesting thing to see. So we'll hit that. Lots of other things today if we can do so. But before we do, I want to remind you, we need your help. We need your support. GiveSendGo.com/RensLaw. GiveSendGo.com/RensLaw. It ain't cheap fighting bad guys, and it ain't easy doing this. You got to remember, folks, we don't take money. And there's no pharma payoffs. Republicans don't like us. Nobody likes us. Nobody likes us because we tell the truth, right? So, there's not a whole lot of money in the truth. So your support allows us to keep fighting and to keep doing what we're doing. You got to have your donations. That's what keeps us going. We're kind of like NPR, but the government doesn't fund us, and hopefully we're more entertaining. So we I feel like the NPR course we're only here through your support, except for the NPR was actually funded through every U.S. government grant program on the planet. But we actually do need your support because no one funds me at all. So we need your backing, need your support. GiveSendGo.com/RensLaw. Also go to TomRens.com, www.TomRens.com, and always remember. The war on testosterone is real, folks. It's real. Men's hormone support from Global Healing. Don't forget that. But today, Of course, scroll down a little bit. You're going to see, don't forget Pet Club 24/7. We're going to be talking with them here in a second. We'll talk all about them. But today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about one of my favorite crews, Casa. Rocasa Organics. Rocasa is a great company because Rocasa keeps me out of trouble. Not only do they have great products and things for you if you're a dude, but they have lots of fun things that you can get. Like if you need to buy a present for your wife, if you're in the doghouse, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, check out Rocasa. They have lotions and smelly things and just a lot of different things that you can actually buy for a girl. Now, I'm not very good at this. I'm terrible at presents. I'm terrible at shopping, but Rocasa's got some great stuff for that. And I just you never get in trouble with the right kind of good smelling thing for the ladies. They seem to be okay with that. So make sure you're checking out Rocasa. All right, let's get to it. And I want to start out with my friends from Pet Club 24/7, and let's bring them on right now if we could. Ben, if you could pop them up. Ladies, how you doing today?
Great, Tom. How are you?
We're doing real well. I'm excited to be here, and having a relatively kind of a crazy day, but it's a day. Um, so ladies, you guys, Pet Club 24/7, which you guys are one of our affiliates, and we love you guys. You guys have all sorts of healthy products for dogs and cats and critters and everything else. And you guys are right on top of what's going on with our pets. And it's something we need to be aware of over the course of the holidays. Tell me what's going on. What you guys got happening?
Well, it's kind of funny. Think about this. Think about being a dog and trying to bring a stick into the house, but mommy says no, but mommy and daddy bring a whole tree into the house at Christmas. Just think about that, really. This is what's going on. These poor animals, the last 3 to 4 weeks have just been so traumatized with the sparkling lights, the tree, the smell, the family, all of these things. And, they're no different than we are. They get stressed. They just need a little immune support. And so our products support the immune system. And it is important that, you go to renspets.com. Don't just go to petclub247.com because we want to support this community. But I want to talk a little bit about New Year's Eve, if that's okay. We have a day coming up that's really, really important. New Year's Eve is the second highest day that animals run away and end up in the shelter. Second to 4th of July.
Really?
Yeah, the shelters will be packed full. And it's a horrible weekend. And so why does this happen? Well, dogs hate fireworks. 50% of our
That's true.
dogs have noise-related phobias. They hear 4 times as sensitive as we do, as much as we do. They also can detect more higher frequencies than we can. So this level of noise that's going to happen on New Year's Eve, it triggers a stress, flight, or fight syndrome in dogs. So we have a couple of suggestions for people. First of all, if you can stay home with your animal on New Year's Eve, stay home with them. Don't just leave them. And if you leave them in a smaller room that's quiet with some music on or something that they can hear to help distract them. This is when they tend to eat things, destroy things, break through doors. We actually had a dog in the Vegas Valley a couple years ago who the fireworks amped him out so bad that he kept running into the door and he kept ramming into the door because he just wanted to get out. He actually broke his snout. Think about being so scared that you just keep running your face into a door to get out. And I don't think people realize how traumatizing it is. Yeah, he broke his snout. And had to have 3 surgeries. Yeah, it's horrible. But we don't really think about it. We don't really realize it. This is a terrible time for them. So what can you do? You can swaddle them, wrap them in a thunder jacket if you have one, or swaddle them with a towel and hold them. Holding them is really good. Make sure your doors, windows are secure because they will run and jump out. If you take them out during fireworks, make sure they're on a good leash. People will go, oh, my yard's fenced in. I have seen dogs scale a 6-foot wall just to get out and run, because that instinct of flight or fight becomes real. So it's just a terrible time. So what do we suggest? We suggest our chill doggies.
There you go. Chill
All they
doggies. I
do, they
love
just
that.
chill. They chill the doggy. That's all they do. They chill the doggies. And if you want to be the hero of the neighborhood, order these, like order them now. They can be here in time.
That's
You can
awesome.
also expedite. But you can also take them around your neighborhood, give them to other people, donate a bag to your local shelter. You want to do something good for the shelter, donate a bag to this shelter. It's all natural lion's mane mushroom. So we are specializing in mushrooms. The lion's mane
Yeah.
mushroom, it's a cognitive mushroom, which will just take the dog down a notch. It also has catnip for dogs that chills them, not like cats. And it has a few other amazing natural herbs. So much better than going to your big pharma and getting prescriptions, which are hard on the liver, hard on the kidneys. But I'm telling you guys, you will be a local neighborhood hero if you just pass some of these out to the neighborhood. They are available at renspets.com. If you order today or tomorrow, you should have them in time. You can also expedite it if you're concerned about shipping times. But right now, we just want to be really aware that they've just come off of a really stressful time. And now we're going to put them into another stressful time. So, that's just who we are, Tom. We're all about our animals
Yeah.
and people, keeping our immune systems healthy, keeping us healthy. And, I've got some questions that we can ask Christian if you're up for it. You up for me asking Christian a few of our most popular questions?
I am. Tell me just a little bit more first about the chill doggy,
Yeah.
because that's actually really cool to me. Now, I have two dogs, and my one dog, if he was any more chill, he might be dead. But the other dog is a little bit more high strung, and she does get real nervous about anything. I mean, hell, you can clap loud and she gets nervous.
Well, yeah,
Um,
that's not unusual. So, what does the chill doggy do? First of all, again, all natural. It's good for separation anxiety. It's good for anxiety. It's good for aggression. We have some dogs that are overly aggressive because they're amped up, they're on edge all the time. And because it's all natural, and because the lion's mane mushroom just takes the brain and takes it down a little bit, it's kind of like some people having a glass of wine kind of just takes the edge off. It's kind of the same thing for our animals, but it can be used daily. It can be used if you're getting ready to travel with your animal. My dog gets car sick and throws up, not since I've been giving him chill doggies. It's good if you're getting ready to take your dog to the groomer or you're getting ready to go to the vet. There's so many things that this can help with. And, if you want to email us at renspets247@gmail.com with any of your animal issues or your human issues, we're not veterinarians, we're not doctors. Disclaimer, we're not giving medical advice, but we're here to help. And we have a lot of experience with this. But the chill doggies, I love the name because it's really, really true. All that it does is chill the doggy. And like you said, some doggies are naturally chill, most are not. We have stories of people who, when they leave, their dogs just go crazy. That's when destructive behavior happens. That's when they destroy things in the house. But if they just give them a little bit of chill doggies, like a half hour before they leave, the dog just chills out and hangs out and feels much better about mommy or daddy being gone, because they don't have a concept of time. I saw a really funny meme the other day. A dog was pasting the picture of his owner on the milk carton, and the guy's coming in the house and he goes, "Dude, I was just gone 5 minutes." But that's kind of how they are. They don't
that's
know
funny.
that we're coming back, even though we've never not come back. That's just kind of how they are. Like I said, it's a stressful time. Think about being a dog right now. Trees in the house, lights are blinking,
That's crazy.
lots. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy for them right now.
That's crazy. So what do you and Kristen got?
What, animals?
Well, no, no. You said you had some
Oh,
questions,
I
some
have some
things
good
with you and
questions.
Kristen.
Let me
Yeah.
just, I have I taken like the top 10 questions that we get asked all the time. And we're going to turn it over to Kristen. I'm going to ask her the questions. First of all, Kristen, how do mushrooms benefit us and animals?
That's a very loaded question because being certified in mycology, the more that I study mushrooms, the more I realize that God has created the perfect ally for animals and people in mushrooms, because fungi are their own kingdom. So they're not plants and they're not animals. They're their own unique kingdom. But most people don't know that humans and mushrooms share 40 to 50% of the same DNA. So they're genetically closer to us than they are to plants. They breathe oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. They eat external organic matter for food. They break down nutrients using enzymes. They have their own immune defense systems, just like we do. So the
Hmm.
reason why that's very important is because this shared biology, this aligned biology, means that mushroom compounds are actually more biocompatible with our bodies than even most plant compounds, which we hear all the time: eat your plants, eat the plants, get your greens, eat your veggies. But we're never taught to eat mushrooms, which are the greatest ally. And they have all these different components in them, like beta glucans and polysaccharides. And this is where I'm going to get a little nerdy, but they speak the same language as our body. So they interact directly with receptors on human immune cells and balance immune function, not by stimulating it, but by educating it. They educate our own immune function. And because of the DNA similarity, the human body reads the compounds almost like it's reading a code that it already understands. So when we get mushrooms into our system, they're not forcing change, they're actually training the body to balance. And along with that, because we've evolved together side by side, fighting a lot of the same environmental threats through time, bacteria and viruses and toxins, a lot of holistic mushrooms naturally produce antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory compounds. And that's why a lot of those same compounds that they use for their own wellness actually work with humans and with pets as well. So again, it's like God designed just the perfect ally for us. And on top of that, it's more than just nutrition, because when we eat mushrooms, we're feeding the body. It's no different, like especially our capsules and our tablets, it's no different from eating mushrooms on salads. But because they're adaptogens, because we share all these biological pathways, it's not just feeding us, it's teaching our body how to adapt. So it's helping us regulate stress, energy, sleep, immunity, even cellular repair is happening when we eat mushrooms. And there's the new Avatar movie that came out. There's this great scene in it where the kid can't breathe in the air, and she connects him with the earth, and the mycelium in the ground go into his body and change his cells and change his DNA. And I thought, oh my goodness, if everyone in this theater understood the power of that, because that's exactly what's happening when people take our mushroom capsules. It's extracted from the mycelium phase, and it's actually changing the DNA, repairing the DNA, powering the mitochondria in ways that plants and a lot of other beneficial compounds can't. So I know I got really nerdy and complex on you, but mushrooms are the best food. They're the best ally. They're the best resource for both pets and ourselves to be putting into our bodies, and we should be consuming them daily because all that they do for us.
So
Well,
now,
I'm gonna pipe in here for a second because, interestingly enough, and I know that you guys are creating stuff for pets primarily, but it's interesting because one of the things when we look at mushrooms, yeah, they are a mainstream treatment in Japan.
Yes.
So if you have cancer, if you have breast cancer, particularly in Japan, one of the mainstream treatments that you get is one of the things that they give you is literally mushrooms. There's it's one of the things they give you to help combat that. So it's kind of an interesting thing. The number of benefits that we're finding from various mushrooms and types of mushrooms is pretty crazy. I mean, it's not something that I think is real well known or probably studied as much, but it's a very interesting area to look.
well,
Well,
and
what
Tom, part of the reason for that is that big pharma can't synthesize it, nor can they patent it. So
No,
therefore, they don't really want us to know about it. I mean, when I was
no.
diagnosed with cancer and started taking this mushroom, I went into remission in 30 days. And when my oncologist called me and said, "What are you doing? Your blood work has come back. You are in remission." And I told him I was so saddened that he knew nothing about this. There are four 100 medical studies on the efficacy of the Coriolis versicolor and your immune system, and he knew nothing about it. And that made me sad. He has since become a great proponent and a cheerleader for me. I am almost 6 years cancer-free. I went through chemotherapy, and Sloan Kettering had this incredible study on how the Coriolis versicolor mushroom could actually complement chemotherapy. I didn't throw up during chemotherapy. I didn't lose my hair. I didn't look like a chemo patient because my body, as everything was being destroyed, every healthy cell was being destroyed by chemotherapy, my body was repairing, replenishing, rebuilding, rejuvenating as fast as it could. So it actually stayed ahead of the process. So we've heard of people that take 2, 4, 5 years to recover from chemo. I was recovered when I was done with chemo. Kristen was there. She saw me. It was a God gift of a natural thing. And so that leads me to the next question. Kristen, how does the turkey tail mushroom, generically, professionally, it's called the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, how does it do what it does for us?
Yeah, well, it's important because the turkey tail, we call it the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. That's its scientific name. And like Tom said, that it's the #1 treatment for cancer in Japan. And we don't, it's not that there aren't a lot of studies, it's that we're not aware of how many studies there are. It's one of the most scientifically validated compounds and mechanisms that's out there. There's not only over 400 studies that have been done, but this is over several decades. So we know long-term ramifications. These are not just short little, small little case studies where we found this over a month. No, these are 20, 30, 40-year-old studies that have been done. So the big difference between what we know as turkey tail, which a lot of times when you go to the store or you'll see it all over the internet, you'll see mushrooms everywhere, is that turkey tail is referring to the fully fruited body. And the reason it's called turkey tail is because it fans out and it looks like a turkey tail. Coriolis versicolor, the scientific name, actually is what we offer for pets and people. And we consider this a core mushroom. Every pet, every person, every day should be taking the Coriolis versicolor mushroom because of how it supports the immune system. And your own immune system, your own pet's immune system, it's the best doctor, it's your best medicine. It's capable of repairing, rebalancing, renewing, regulating every system, every cell in the entire body. Your immune system naturally built into you, intelligently designed to do that, which is why there's been such a huge orchestrated attack on the immune system right now. We're seeing it with humans, we're seeing it with our pets. Everything is meant, all these toxins and synthetic overloads and chemical overloads are meant to compromise the immune system so that it can't do what it was designed to do, so that we can become dependent on, like you said, other options that are patented that people can make a lot more money off of. And so the power of the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, when it's in its mycelial phase, when it's a little baby, that's when we extract it, is it has the most polysaccharides, PSP and PSK in it, which are what help to modulate the immune system. That's when it has a very high concentration of that. And it also has a high concentration of a polyamine called spermidine. Look up spermidine. I highly recommend. If you look it up, you'll see what it's doing for mitochondrial, how it helps with mitochondrial biogenesis, how it helps the DNA repair itself, how it starts the process of autophagy, which is mostly done by having to fast or some type of deprivation or stress usually causes autophagy in the body. Well, the spermidine naturally does it. So it's literally renewing your cells and regenerating your cells and making you molecularly more healthy. It's really incredible. So there's so much power in the mycelial phase of the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. And we, through trial and error, have perfected it. We grow it on clean, organic, natural substrates. They get access to sunlight, so it gets the codes from the sun as well, which then gets transferred to pets and to ourselves. And we're able to produce a pharmaceutical grade extract. And that's why we have people all the time that will say, I've been taking turkey tail, or I give my pet turkey tail. I've noticed a little bit of a difference, but not much. Then they try one of our treats or one of our capsules, and it's a night and day difference. And that's because purity matters, potency potency matters, the strain matters. We have a proprietary strain, and the way that it's extracted also matters. So you'll notice a huge difference when you take the Coriolis versicolor versus the turkey tail mushroom.
Well, and Kristen, we had a great story with a guy named Harold. Harold was in his mid 90s. He had prostate cancer. Harold had started on our Coriolis versicola, and his numbers went right in line, and they stayed that way for 2 years. And then all of a sudden, I noticed that he wasn't ordering. And I kind of was a little afraid to call because I had hoped we hadn't lost Harold, because, like I said, he was in his mid 90s. But I finally picked up the phone and called his wife, and his wife goes, "Oh yeah, we really screwed up. Harold didn't want to be on Smart Ship, so he was ordering every month, but he forgot to order. He was in a box store. He saw turkey tail. He figured, what the heck? He grabbed it, started taking it for 2 months. His prostate numbers flew back up to where they were before. He was back at the oncologist. Things weren't going well. Jumped back on our product, ordered it from us, and by July, so this all started in December, by July, his numbers were back to normal. And that was just such a great story because it's just proof. I love irrefutable numbers. I love when we have numbers like mine. I was off the charts, and then I went down to 0.05, and I've stayed at 0.05 for 6 years. I believe that if I quit taking the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, my numbers would probably go back up. Mm-hmm. And I only take 3 a day. I might take, and just like for our animals, we have a maintenance dose. So that's my next question. Why would a healthy person, or why would a healthy animal be given this product?
Before we get to that, I want to ask you guys. So you guys have people taking your pet supplements, which we've heard a little bit about horse paste, which of course the horse paste doesn't work at all, says the CDC, except for when it does, right?
It does. Exactly.
So it's an interesting thing, and you guys are creating, you're growing these. I want to talk a little bit real quick, and we got to wrap here pretty quick, but I want to talk a little bit about your growing process, because that's an interesting thing. So you guys are actually growing these. You're using, I noticed you talked about the soil, you talked about the sun, and I'm going to tell you what I know, and then I just want you to elaborate a little bit, because one of the things that I do is I do a lot of work in the health and wellness space, and of course I look at a lot of supplement manufacturers and people who make vitamins and whatever supplement you can imagine, and it's interesting. Because you'll see all of these supplements, all these vitamins, they all come from something that's grown somewhere, right? And there's a tremendous difference. So, for example, on the human supplement side, I love my global healing products, right? And you guys seem to take a similar track that they do, because global healing, for example, they will go through and they will check, where's this stuff grown?
Yes.
Are you growing it in a field full of glyphosate? Are you growing it in a field full of poisons and pesticides and all these different things? Are you using GMO products? Are you using GMO plants? And for global healing, it's part of the reason that I push them so much, because I love these guys. They make sure that their fields are clean soil. They make sure that it's all, healthy water, healthy food, healthy everything that these plants are getting. The processing from beginning to end, they watch. They literally look at every single step of the process. And it's interesting because it sounds like you guys take a very similar approach. Is that correct?
Yes, and I'm so glad that you mentioned it. And I love companies like Global Healing. And I feel like God is raising up more and more companies of people that are taking care of creation and being good stewards with what God has given us, and being really intentional with what we're doing and how we're doing it and how it's sourced and where it's coming from and how it's treated while it's growing, right? Like a lot of the mushrooms that are being grown are grown in labs, on these synthetic substrates and using artificial light. And it grows the mushrooms. They continue to grow, but it doesn't have the power of God's design behind it. There's power when the soil's natural. There's power when there aren't any chemicals, insecticides, pesticides, glyphosates, anything there that can contaminate it. That's so important. And companies like Global Healing and our company, we're recognizing that the quality is in the purity of it, right? As close as we can get it to God's original design, the better it is. And if we can harness that and get it into the body, our ancient bodies know how to metabolize that. We don't know how to metabolize. Our pets don't know how to metabolize all this junk, all these artificial dyes and fillers and all this junk that we're putting into it. And that's why we have all these metabolic issues that are happening. And we have incredible veterinarians and doctors that are standing up, and RFK Jr. that are standing up and saying, hey, enough is enough. Like, we have to change this because we're only hurting ourselves. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, because companies like that, I'm so thankful for them that they're taking the initiative and they're doing things the right way and helping to restore things back to the natural order.
Kristen,
Yeah.
how many times do they test our product? What is that? What is the testing on our product?
Yeah, all of our mushroom biomass gets 3 certificates of analysis, testing not only the potency of it, but also the purity through every phase. So when we first harvest it, it gets tested for purity. After it's extracted, it gets tested for purity. And then after the finished product is done, they test it a 3rd time for purity. So every single batch has 3 different certificates.
I really need to, I mean, obviously I love you guys' products, but I need to check out a couple of them myself on a couple that I haven't tried yet. I've never tried the chill doggy. That I need to try. And I'm curious about some of these things. I really need to check out a couple of them that I haven't, because
Tom,
you guys got so many.
I'll put some.
Yeah, we're
in the
going to
mail
send
to
you a bunch.
I'll put some in the mail to you. Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
do.
And I think
Please
for
do.
you would really benefit from the Enforce.
Yeah.
As with everything else you're taking,
It
this is the beautiful
complements
part.
it.
It complements it, and there's no interference. I mean, that's the beauty of this. No medical interference, no interference with anything you're doing, just added support.
Well, you guys have so many good products, and they're really, I mean, it's shocking. It's like there are a plethora of good products here. In fact, if you go to Ren's Pets,
Benspets.com.
yeah, you can see, Ben, can we pop that up on the screen there? Yeah, I mean, the number of different things you guys got, it's crazy. It's crazy. I got to be honest, I'm never sure which ones I should be looking at first, because you guys have so many.
And
But,
that's a really great thing to say. That's why, have anybody that is confused, please email me at renspets247@gmail.com. Let me know what age the breed, what type of dog, what's going on, or with yourself, and then I'll help steer you in the right direction.
yeah, because you guys have so much, and it's so good. I mean, it's just tremendous number of things. I love that you guys are doing, and I'm glad that we got to talk about the way that you cultivate the stuff and the way that you test for quality, because that's a really important thing.
Yeah.
I got to tell you guys, I have been through every sort of supplement company you can imagine. I mean, I've been working out since I was a kid, so I've always got like this passion for like health and wellness. I work out, I enjoy it, I eat right. I follow supplements and stuff like that. I like it. It's just something I enjoy, right? And so as I've kind of grown in some of the stuff, I've got to check out a bunch of supplement companies, and I love. There's only a handful that I really, really love. Mike Adams, Health Ranger, which, by the way, guys, make sure you check him out.
Yeah.
Global Healing, and then you guys are kind of the top in terms of, like, to my knowledge, in terms of your processes, right? I mean, you guys are all very particular about your sourcing and your processes. And that makes such a big difference. It's such a huge, huge difference. So I'm really glad to hear that, guys. I got to jump because I got to get to this. I got a couple other things I got to get through today. But you guys are gonna have to come back. We'll have to get through the rest of your Q&A, because there's a bunch of, you guys got some just great stuff there, and I always appreciate you ladies coming on.
Well, we're happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity, and don't forget to get out there and get your chill doggies for New Year's.
Yeah, I'm eager to see what that does.
I'll stick some in the mail to you today. I'll get it sent out.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one. I love that, because especially my one dog, she gets all panicky with the fireworks, and she's generally hiding on my lap.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I'm big enough that a 50-pound dog is still a lap dog for me. Now my other one's about 85 pounds. Oh. He thinks he's a lap dog too, but he's a bit of an ogre.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I love that. So, well, ladies, come back again. Renspets.com, renspets.com. Take care of your puppies, take care of your kitties, whatever you got. Just make sure you're taking care of them because they certainly do try and take care of you. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
God bless.
Appreciate it.
Well,
Have a
we'll
happy
see
New
you
Year.
soon. Okay. All right. I love the Pet Club ladies. They're wonderful people, and I'm so glad to have them on. Just a great sponsor, great affiliate to have for the show. So, all right, guys, I want to hit a few things. I want to move on to some other stuff. The jabs, right? Okay, so it's kind of stupid if you took them. But a lot of smart people got lied to and manipulated and tricked. Early CDC data is showing right now that the 2025-2026 COVID vaccine uptake is really abysmally low, which is wonderful. That means there's fewer people that are going to die and be poisoned from these horrific death shots. But it's interesting to look at, right? So right now, according to a post by Mary Tyler Bowden, and she is on top of this stuff, percent of populations receiving the COVID jab in 2025-26 is 7.5%. 15 for children and 15.8% for adults. Including 32.1% for people 65 and over. So we are trying to kill our old people off, and a lot of them are unfortunately gullible enough to believe it. And of course, a lot of them have already had 15 COVID jabs, so they're too stupid to ask questions. Why did I say that? Well, because the COVID jabs make you stupider. That's another topic here. But we see the uptake in these vaccines down. And what got me on this today was there is a viral claim out there, Sweden's IQ drop, right? So there's an image headline, Swedes are getting dumber. And it shows that basically what they're trying to do is tied to illegal immigrants, right? Now, this is an interesting thing because there are studies out there showing the breakdowns of people from different IQs of people from different places, right? So apparently there are places in the world, and I didn't know this, but there is data backing the fact that different people from different places may or may not have a lower IQ. In fact, there was a claim out not too long ago, and I don't know if it's true. I didn't bother looking. That particularly some of the Islamic nations where you have first cousins marrying, that there is a pretty substantial drop in IQ. I don't know if that's true. I know that marrying your first cousin seems a little jacked up to me, but what I know, I guess. It ain't working for me, guys. But apparently that's a big thing in some countries. So this Swedish military test showed that there's declining cognitive skills. Reading scores were down from 508 to 487. Math scores were down from 503 to 482. There's a lot of debate about causes, and a lot of the discussion is centering around immigration. And certainly that's a possibility, but I'd like to throw out another possibility that I think that there should be probably a global study on. I think that it'd be interesting to see if there was a correlation globally between IQ drops, test score drops, and vaccine uptake, right? Some countries have a lot higher vaccine uptake than others. And I would argue, and I would hypothesize, that the higher the vaccine uptake is in any given country, that probably the more substantial the IQ drop will have been over that same period of time. Now, is that correct? I don't know. It's a hypothesis, but it's certainly an interesting one. Now, why do I say that? Well, let's run down a couple of the different things that we know about the vaccines, right? So we know that the persistent spike protein, which occurs from the mRNA vaccines, right? So there's a study from Yale talked about the vaccines and the mRNA being there, for at least 700 days post-vaccination. We know that it persists in your body for a very long time and increases your spike protein production throughout your body, because your body doesn't naturally produce that. The spike protein's a pathogen, and it's only produced either through COVID or through the vaccines. And the vaccines tend to stick with your body forever and do that. So now, spike protein from the mRNA vaccines does cause brain fog, dizziness, tinnitus, and this can mimic what they're calling post-vaccination syndrome. Now there's a big push, of course. The big pharma shills want to convince you that this is actually long COVID. It's not long COVID. It's vaccine COVID. Long COVID is vax COVID. They're one and the same. But these are so you got prion disease, right? This is another thing that's coming from these things, and prion disease from these spike proteins misfolding the proteins in your body. They cause these problems like rapid dementia, neurodegenerative disease, Alzheimer's, CJD. There's a number of problems that we're seeing, right? This is certainly correlated to the vaccines. They're working on causation. You got increases in Alzheimer's and cognitive impairment. The Korean study showed a lot higher incidence of Alzheimer's and mild cognitive impairment with vaccine within 3 months. So, you get the jab, you get dumber. Now, the question is, how long does it make you dumber? And how dumb does it make you? And the answer is, I don't know. And they aren't studying it properly, but it definitely makes you dumber. We know that the vaccine crosses the blood-brain barrier, right? So both the spike proteins and the lipid nanoparticles both cross the blood-brain barrier. And, that's a bit of an issue, right? Because you don't need this stuff in your brain. But that does cause inflammation, microclotting, all sorts of neural effects. And that's part of the reason that it's thought to cause this kind of brain fog, right? There's a lot of anecdotal various reports, different things like that, where people talk about. It's well known. They won't study it because they don't want there to be any actual proof. But there's enough data that would more than warrant a study as to the cognitive impairment caused by the vaccines. You see the VAERS and all these reports about people who have prolonged brain fog, memory loss, cognitive decline. All this happens post-vaccine, right? But they won't study it. We see rapid onset dementia cases post-vaccine. This arguably with a 25x increase, according to Steve Kirsch, I believe. I believe Kirsch took a look at that. We see immune suppression, neurological damage from some of these white papers out there talking about this. There's just all sorts of issues, including the official post-vaccination syndrome, which includes brain fog, fatigue, and all these different things, which we know occurs. So anyways, there's all these different things that we know are happening. And I would pose to everybody that I said back in 2021, I said, get the jab, get COVID, which we now know to be true. You actually are more likely to get COVID if you've gotten the jab. Now, and I've probably said this before too, but get the jab, get stupid. I mean, it definitely impacts your ability to think. It impacts your cognitive ability. It impacts all sorts of things. So this is a real issue. And, I wonder if the correlation has as much to do with immigration as it does to do with the vaccination. Every European country got a lot of vaccines. It doesn't really matter. Some held out and didn't mandate it, but there was a lot of it. The vaccination rate in every country was high, and I think it'd be interesting. And I think someone ought to do a study to see if there's a correlation between the vaccination rate and increases in neurodegenerative disorders or drops in IQ. Some population studies would be warranted on that. So there you go, Nick Olsher. There's some homework for you. Nick, of course, is with McCullough Foundation. They do great work, and he does a lot. He pulls out a lot of these different things that no one else will look at. But all right, so get the jab, get stupid. Let's talk about a few other things. Okay. Federal judge strikes down California's policies hiding gender switches from parents. That's an interesting thing here, right? So we've got a federal judge looking at a case from California, and in California, they've got these policies that prevent parents from learning about their kids switching genders. So the schools actually order their teachers to lie to the parents, right? So the teachers are not allowed to tell the parents if the students are switching genders. So you have to, let's say the student comes in and says, teacher, you got to call me, my name's Alex, you're going to have to call me Allison. Well, the teacher, when she's talking to the student, is required to call her Allison, or him Allison at that point. But to the parents is still required to call him Alex, because the teacher is prohibited from letting the parents know that the student's pretending to be a girl at school. Right? So this is really messed up. Imagine that. Imagine being a teacher in California and that being the case. It is a debacle. And really, the biggest thing to understand is think about what this does to the parent-child relationship. So as a parent, you've got a constitutional duty, a legal duty. You have all sorts of duties to protect your kids. You have to take care of your kids. But the school can go ahead and convince your kid that they're trans, push them towards transition therapy, do all these different things, and then the parents left footing the bill and the lifelong mental health issues. This is a debacle. Listen, this is the schools in the state of California trying to take over the role of parents. They are not the parents, but they're trying to. They're trying to do that. And this was so egregious and so ridiculous that U.S. District Court for Southern California actually said, no, this is insane. We can't do this. So in what was a very interesting and good ruling by a judge out of California, you see order granting summary judgment in favor of the plaintiffs, noting that the parents have constitutional rights. Now, I want to read a little bit this to you and talk to you a little bit about the law. This is a quote from the ruling. Long before Horace Mann advocated in the 1840s for a system of common schools and compulsory education, parents have carried out the rights and responsibility to direct general and medical care and religious upbringing of their child. The history and culture of Western civilization reflect a strong tradition of parental concern for the nurture and upbringing of their children. This primary role of parents in upbringing their children is now established beyond debate as an enduring American tradition. Now, that is directly from Wisconsin v. Yoder, right, which is a Supreme Court case. It's ridiculous that someone had to rule on that, but it is. This primary role of the parents is correct. So it goes on to say, it is a right and a responsibility that parents still hold. Now, that's per another Supreme Court, Mahmoud v. Taylor, right? The role of a parent includes a duty to recognize symptoms of illness and seek medical advice. Now, that's really important, right? Because on one hand, we have parents losing custody of their kids when pharma says that they need to treat them with something and they don't, right? But on the other, a parent's supposed to watch out and see and take care of their kids, right? So what if the parent finds out pharma's full of crap? Well, apparently you still have to, poison your child. But this is a really interesting thing. Now, these rights are protected under the First and 14th Amendments. Quote, it is cardinal with us that the custody and care and nurture of a child reside first with the parents, whose primary function and freedom include preparation for the obligations state can neither supply nor hinder. Fortunately, the natural bonds of affection normally lead parents to act in the best interest of their child. And that's per Parnham v. Jr., right? So the court goes on to rule this, and I want you guys to hear this. With these longstanding principles in mind, this case presents the following 4 questions about a parent's right to information as against the public school's policy of secrecy when it comes to gender identification. First, Do parents have the right to gender information based on the First and 14th Amendment, or based on the 14th Amendment's substantive due process clause? Second, do parents have a right to gender information protected by the First Amendment's free exercise of religion clause? Third, do religious public school teachers have a right to provide gender information to parents based on the First Amendment's free exercise clause? And fourth, do public school teachers have a right to communicate accurate gender information to parents based on the First Amendment free speech clause? Congratulations to this judge, because he says in each case, this court concludes that as a matter of law, the answer is yes. Parents have a right to receive gender information, and teachers have a right to provide parents accurate gender information about their child's gender identity. Now, I want to think about this, right? The way the court broke this analysis down is really important and really, really interesting. They ask, first, do parents have a right to gender information based on the 14th Amendment substantive due process clause? So what this is saying in layman's terms is under the 14th Amendment's due process clause, you have a right to due process where any substantive right is going to be limited, right? And so is it a limitation on your right as a parent if you don't get gender identity information, right? And because of the impact that has on your free exercise of a religion and potentially free speech, some of these different things, the answer is absolutely, unequivocally yes, right? First Amendment is a disaster for these leftists. They don't like the freedom of religion. They don't like free speech. Those come together to really create a problem. So that's that. The second question, do parents have a right to gender information protected by the First Amendment's free exercise clause? And that's absolutely. So the First Amendment, not only do you have the free exercise of religion, but you also have the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which requires the highest level of review for any case questioning, this sort of thing. So you have strict scrutiny applied here for anything regarding free exercise. That's a critical thing, folks, because what you've got to understand is that the free exercise of religion cannot be abridged without due process for the 14th Amendment. And the free exercise of religion must be reviewed on strict scrutiny. So if you're a Christian parent, trans is a big deal. It's not Christian, right? And so does this have an impact? And the answer is yes. So removing that right to know removes the parents' right to counsel, to teach, to lead. There's so many different things it does. It's a disaster. So this is a really, really critical analysis. Third, do religious school teachers have a right to give that information under the free exercise? Yes. So you're going to ask a Catholic school teacher to not tell a parent that the kid is acting, that little Johnny is acting like little Jenny. Are you kidding me? This is insane. Of course they have a right. You're going to tell me that a parochial school, a religious school, Catholic school, is not supposed to tell the parent the kid's acting like a tranny? Of course they're supposed to. How are you going to help the kid? I mean, listen, that's a mental illness, folks. It's a mental illness. It is delusional. You cannot be a girl no matter what if you're a boy. You cannot be a boy no matter what if you're a girl. You can get your wiener cut off. You can get listen, here's the deal. If I get a prosthetic tail sewed on my ass and tell you I'm a dinosaur, it doesn't make me a dinosaur.
Bruh.
If you get a fake wiener sewed onto your crotch, that doesn't make you a boy. And if you get your wiener cut off and someone crafts a vagina out of your asshole, that doesn't make you a girl. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but that just is what it is. I don't know how else to say it. Your DNA is what it is. And at the end of the day, I don't care. You are what you are. And listen, we can respect trans rights. We can respect people who have that mental illness. But let's try and help avoid it if at all possible. Because with those surgeries and with those hormone treatments come lifelong health problems and all sorts of other issues. It's not hate to say, let's do everything we can to try and help people avoid that. It's love. Right? If you can't avoid it, if you're a 40-year-old dude and you still think you're a girl and you want to get your wiener cut off, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I guess you can do that. You have the right to do it, but we probably still ought to say to you, hey, you got gender dysphoria disorder. Did you try some counseling? Did you try something else first? Because, you're going to have lifelong health problems after you get your wiener whacked off. Just saying. By the way, I'm an old, crotchety dude. Yeah, it used to be back in my day that if someone, they joke, if you get a knife near my wiener, I'm going to punch you. Those were fighting words for men. But that's back when men still were men. And I don't know, now they're the hairy system. Anyways, fourth, do public school teachers have a right to communicate accurate gender information based on free speech? And the answer is yes, right? You can't force someone to lie. That's absurd. That's absolutely absurd. You can force secrecy. You could say you're not allowed to talk about it. But in this case, a parent has no choice. A school teacher has no choice but to interact with the parent. So there's really no way to do this. It just doesn't work. So it really, all four of those were ruled the right way. It's a really good ruling. And I wish I had time to really dig into this further. We're up against the end of the show, but listen, I want to provide this free advice for anybody that's listening. If you're a dude and you think you're a chick, just don't do it. Keep your wiener. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just remember your childhood. Remember, at some point in your life, every dude, I believe every dude had a thought. If you come near my knife with my wiener with a knife, we're gonna fight. That's a good thing. Hold it. Embrace it. Embrace the wiener. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll be back very soon. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys had a great holiday, and we'll see you Monday.
Thank you for watching The Tom Renz Show. Join us live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, putting an axe in the skull of tyranny.
Axe in the skull of tyranny. Swing it hard, swing it free. No more whispers, no more lies. Axe in the skull till the beast dies.